This is just a weird bug. Okay, looks like we're recording. Apologies to those who like to tune in for the live stream. Unfortunately, sometimes we get these weird bugs where it doesn't grant necessary privileges, whatever that means. So this is the March 21st meeting of the OpenJS Foundation Standards Working Group. We have a smaller group today because there are some different meetings happening. So love those meeting conflicts. But that's okay. We record it so we can catch up later, and we take notes over at the standards repo. So before we get into our regularly scheduled agenda, which is issue number 210 on the repository, let me ask if there are any announcements or anything, any news items people just want to share with the community today before we get started. I have one thing. Minor thing, not a minor thing, it's a big thing for me. Just as a heads up, my team is the standards team at the Linux Foundation, and I have an open role for a program manager on my team. I've had to kind of temporarily pause recruiting for that while I handled some other projects, but I'm back at this in earnest. I'm really keen to find a great person to join. So if you know anybody who would like to join the standards PM team at the LF, shoot me an email. So that is my one announcement. I suppose the other announcement that we are always reminding our OpenJS friends about is the Collab Summit ahead of OpenJS World, May 9th. If you're planning to come to Vancouver for Open Source Summit North America and the OpenJS World Conference, then we'd love to see you a day ahead of time for the Collab Summit. That agenda is coming together thanks to Claudio Wonder, who is wonderful, I might add. And you can reach out to him on Slack if you have any questions about the programming there, if you want to talk about something in particular with your OpenJS friends. And I think that's good. That's pretty much it. Okay, cool. Speaking of which, issue 205, agenda item number 1, standards group participation at OpenJS World. So I opened this for 2 different purposes. One is just to get into our minds that we often as a group have nominated good folks to receive the Standards Pathfinder Award for the JavaScript Landia Awards. I'm not sure that call for nominations has opened yet, but I think it's going to go pretty quick once it does, because we don't have too much time before the conference. So I just want everybody thinking about folks who've made an impact for web standards in the last year that we can nominate really quickly. And then this group also takes the special step of recommending to the CPC who we think the award winner should be. So let's just be mindful about that so that we can move quickly. Yes, Leah.
Question, the people we nominate for the award, does it have to be like JavaScript APIs or TC39 work, or can it be any standards?
I don't think we've been so specific that it must be JavaScript or that it must be, I think we've leaned toward web standards, and I think we'd take a fairly generous interpretation of that, especially if somebody's made like a real big difference. So
Very quick question for you. For the call for nominees, is there a date that needs to be
opened?
Yeah.
Well, I think the CPC is the group that technically opens that.
Gotcha.
We do have a nomination form that once they say, yeah, let's go, like we can just reuse the form from last year, and it collects sort of a statement about, who's nominating and why they're being nominated and that kind of thing.
We have other categories as well, and we'll have a committee. So we still need to get that together and do a little work back.
So that's one thing. And then the other piece, of course, is mentioned Collab Summit on the 9th, the day before. Oftentimes the CPC or, other just sort of like OpenJS not necessarily project specific, but, you know, cross project working groups such as this one have had, you know, meetings during that session to either, you know, get some heads down work done or just kind of open up more for discussion. I am planning to be there on the 9th for the summit day. And I would love for us to, you know, either propose maybe a conversation with interested community members on how we can get their projects more engaged with the standards piece. I mean, we heard from Guy last week about how can we make this a little just bit more top of mind for the projects when they're thinking about weighing in on a standards question. You know, how can they involve the group and the standards working group, and how can we be more like present for them? So my proposal might be for us to suggest something like that, as opposed to, don't imagine all of our folks will attend, but just want to get your thoughts on that.
Good idea. We did a survey, what, about 18 months ago? We went to a number of the larger projects, and we heard, I think what Michael Champion always said is they think standards maybe happens to them as a part of being a process, and that you have to know somebody to be involved. So yeah, I think it would be a nice way to hit several projects.
So would anybody have a issue if I opened a request with Claudio to do a session on that at the okay, cool, great. So I'm just making a note here. Reminder to think about folks for the Pathfinder Award. And Jory to request session on participation with standards group. Wow, can't spell, at OpenJS World Collab Summit. All right, cool. And we'll get those recorded into the action items. Any other topics or thoughts around OpenJS World /Collab Summit as it pertains to our group of friends here? Okay, none, hear none. And also that has an overlap with the AC meeting, which I'll have to dial into remotely, the W3C AC meeting that day. But, okay, next up is issue 190, and this is the concise guide to participating in web standards. If you click into that and you mosey on over to the pull request, which is number 209, and I'll pop that into chat. I only had one comment, which was on the some just miscellany kind of formatting tweaks, and I accepted those. So given this has been open for 2 weeks, y'all approved it as a Google Doc, I'm gonna merge it in, but I kind of wanted to wait. All right, yay. I love the ceremonial merge pull request.
Go, Jory, go.
Okay, so this is great, and we can think about perhaps the next thing we'd like to do. Yes, Leia.
Is the idea that people will be reading this guide as a markdown file in our repo, or is this also published somewhere?
I think the idea is that this also ends up getting PDF'd and published maybe on the OpenJS website, with the pointer back to like the latest that's hosted on the repo, right? So people can make, we're putting it here under version control so that we can rev it as we need to. But I think we'd also ideally like to send a doc to get dressed up a little bit and distribute it from the OpenJS site. OpenJS website will hopefully get a facelift, a freshening, a makeover, if you will.
Yeah, we're in the middle of it. Yeah.
And be discoverable there as well.
Why a PDF though? Like,
I think it's just easier for them to track from like a, downloadable. I don't know. This is just that's the pattern that the marketing team uses. I don't guess it has to be. It could be whatever we wanted
We
it
can
to be.
update, we can update content if y'all,
It's just that if it was a web page, you could have
Mhm.
continuous deployment from the repo, and like you make
Mhm.
changes to the markdown file, it automatically updates. You don't have to rebuild the PDF or anything.
The new site is it gonna be a static site, or is it gonna be like a WordPress?
Next.js will be, yeah,
Okay, yeah.
Jamstack.
So they could consume it. I wasn't sure if they were going to keep the WordPress or
Nope.
but,
The
So-
editing tool's really easy anyhow too, but if we could make that automated, that would be better. So,
I wish there was an an easier way to migrate from these WordPress sites to Jamstack. Like, it should be easier.
yeah, we're moving away from WordPress.
I mean, my personal website's still WordPress just because there's so much legacy content that just migrating it seems like a daunting task.
Yeah.
But I would love to migrate it to Jamstack at some point.
Mhm.
Great. So I am going to, oh no, it closes automatically too. Yay, okay. So issue 190 is closed, that is merged, and now we can think about another concise guide that we might want to create. So then moving into 173, which is defined terms for subject matter expert participation. Last week we talked with Guy, and we actually had a really great conversation, not last week, 2 weeks ago. We talked with Guy and Richard and Jordan and others about kind of actually chunking this into a couple of different updates. Guy sent me an email with some suggestions that I haven't been able to just follow back up on. So I'm going to request that we table this because I don't have anything actionable to share with you from between the last time we met and today. But in short, we were going to kind of break this up into a couple of different things. One is just a refresh of sort of expectations and guidance for those folks who are serving us as delegates to different organizations. Two, we had also suggested some better language and guidance for the projects, how to use the standards working group so that we could send that out to groups like Node and you know, Electron and all of our impact projects, for example, and help them engage with us when they are going to or thinking about weighing in on a standards activity. And three, just sort of better clarifying when those terms for those folks would change. So those were the kind of 3 buckets of improvements, but I haven't had a chance to go freshen this up between this and last week. But anything anybody would want to add to that summary or suggest as an additional action item? Okay, cool. I will just write, you know, no update. But hopefully I will have lots of updates for the next time, 2 weeks from now. Okay, number 211. This is a good one. I rather like this one.
Yeah.
Leah.
Hello. I guess I should present that issue.
Yes, if you don't mind.
Okay, so actually this came from some conversations I had with Jordan, and I recently wanted TC39 feedback about a tag design principles issue. We were getting a lot of WAP-WG input, but no TC39 input, and apparently these 2 groups disagree about this. So I really wanted to get more TC39 input, and I was talking with Jordan about how best to do that. Should I post on the discourse? And he's like, no, you should post to this repo. And then it's like, oops, you don't have access to this repo because you're not a TC39 delegate. And I thought about this, and it's like, well, I was actually recently posting some proposals relating to TC39 specs. So you know what? It would actually be kind of cool if I was a TC39 delegate. So I posted this issue with Jordan's guidance, and he's in support. It seems that some other people are in support as well. So there we are.
Well, I'm in support for sure for a wide variety of reasons. And let's see, this has been open for, remember, from a process standpoint, I think all it takes is a consensus agreement of this group. Oh, I should open an issue to clean up the working group list because we do have some outdated.
Do we have a quorum in this meeting to produce?
I don't think we have quorum in this meeting, but I think we can gather it async. So poking Brian Cardell and Mike Champion and Mike Samuel and some others. But I mean, I'm going to go thumbs up the pull request, and I guess that's the action item is for the working group delegates to thumbs up. Approve this, approve the PR, and then we will be able to add Leia. But I'm super in support of that, and
Yay.
It's awesome. Yay.
cool. All right, so
Very
I'll
cool.
just take an AI to help get the quorum. All right. Oh, plus 21, plus 1. How about that? All right. Next item for today is more of an FYI. I did spend about 45 minutes yesterday going through the repo and trying to clean up outdated issues, and largely it's the meeting issues that get created, and then they're not necessarily closed unless we open a PR with notes or something like that to close them. So there's a PR on the repo. This is PR number 212 that adds meeting notes files to the directory. We did have some issues with the recording. Not all of the meetings that we had over the last well, it's been a while, frankly, since I've done this, because I think I was out on maternity leave for 3 months last year. And so we didn't get all of those done during that time. So there's a PR 212. I just opened it yesterday, so I'll wait another day or two for folks. It's just a chore. But Jordan's usually really good at reviewing the chore PRs and commenting. But yeah, just once that happens, assuming there's no questions or anything like that, that'll close a bunch of these outdated issues. And then I closed some other issues that were from last year related to OpenJS World 2022, for example, stuff like that. So
I updated the YouTube channel. I noticed that we had like 100 videos stuck in streaming, but not in the right playlist. So I moved and updated wherever I found them buried, and then I reformatted the homepage. So if you want, there is a standards channel for those who want to catch up.
Link?
Oh, that's good. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you stream, it gets buried. If you go to the YouTube channel, you won't be able to find it if it's stuck in streaming. So.
Oh, that is good to know. Look at that. Oh goodness, that's fantastic. See, I don't know how YouTube works or anything.
I did a little internet university and figured it out.
Internet University, is
Same.
that a real
Yeah.
thing that I can
YouTube
take?
University to figure out YouTube.
I need to go to Internet University. Oh, that's great. Okay. Any other thoughts on the repo cleanup? But I think we're just going to kind of do some housekeeping. It's spring cleaning,
Spring cleaning, yes.
cleaning of the repo, and making this a little bit more navigable and all that kind of stuff. So, all right. I guess moving onward, the last issue for today is again sort of more of an FYI. We're really excited about this though. Issue number 213 is the Secure the Web Forward workshop has been announced, and this is one we've been talking about in the meeting over the last few months, but we finally kind of talking to acting. This is a W3C workshop that we are partnering with them and the OpenSSF and OWASP Foundation to have a small W3C workshop in London in June at the Microsoft Hack Reactor space. We are looking for people to bring papers. And for those who are not familiar with the W3C workshop format, it's definitely not a conference talk, and it's not the workshop is in like, bring your computer and we'll teach you, how to do something, but rather, come with a problem statement, come with, an idea, a solution to a problem or experience that you've had, some challenge you have with the web platform, present for a short period on it, like, 15 minutes. And then there's usually kind of a group of presentations that are relatively tight and focused, and then they break out into like working sessions where all the participants come together and have a conversation and sort of I think they call it unconference style format, and dissect into some of the points raised by the people who brought papers. So it's a very collaborative experience, very high level of technical kind of conversation. So if you're a developer that has had a problem with security on the web platform, this could be for you. The link to the workshop is in the issue 213, and we are really keen to get some great content. Robin and myself and a number of folks from our community and from just adjacent to our community are on the programming committee for this, and so we're looking for some great presentations. And yeah, Robin, anything additional on that?
I think just a note that space is limited, so urge you to get your CFPs in time. I think people expect OpenJS CFPs to be extended all of the time. I think we're learning that's probably not going to be the case here because of the space limitations. So.
Yeah, it's a very small space. Like they don't typically have huge workshop sizes anyway at the W3C. I think this is kind of a larger one at sort of the 100-ish range. 120, I think, is like the absolute max for the space. So yeah, anyway, we'll be reporting on that as it goes. There's a W3C Slack community too, if you wanted to pop into the W3C community Slack and ask questions about the workshop there. But yeah, hoping to bring some great insight from our OpenJS community. All right, that hits all of our agenda points for today, which is cool. So any questions on the security secure the web forward workshop? Nope. Okay, cool. Any other business for our working group today?
Just as a heads up, I think I may have mentioned this before. I will probably need to submit a request soon for the upcoming tag meeting travel. I haven't done it soon because I haven't looked at flights yet. It's like I need to book some other flights first, so it's complicated, and there's a bit of a catch-22 there, because I think I need a budget to file the pull request, but if I look for flights, I would probably want to book them soon, otherwise prices increase. So there's a bit of a catch-22 there. But I guess there's also some time where you can cancel the flights after you book them, so I might just do that. Anyway, I guess the process is the same as last time, right? It's been a while since I submitted one of these.
And Ben and I were just talking about this. The process for the PR, I think it's 72 hours. Is that correct for the CPC to sign off? So that should go pretty quickly, but you're right. You are sort of playing with your budget in that 3, but I think if you just do your best guess for estimate, it doesn't have to be exact. And I think wiggle room is absolutely fine.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't have to be like the exact dollar, you know?
Okay, I thought it was basically setting like an upper bound, like this is up to which amount you can be reimbursed, and everything beyond that is out of pocket.
I don't know if we have precise documentation on that, but I think use your, best judgment based on what you're finding, and then to stay as close to that as possible within that 72-hour approval.
Okay,
That's what I would recommend.
thanks.
Yeah.
And it sounds like there might be some much needed refreshing to the expense reimbursement documentation too coming, which is
Yeah, that was one of the first things Ben and I talked about with OpenJS World coming Collab Summit. Yeah. Our
And
tools
meeting with
changed.
finance today. So hopefully updates to follow.
all right. Okay. Any other business? Hearing none, I will say we are adjourned for today. I will stop the recording and thank everyone for attending / watching later online, since I'm recording now, having to upload this later. All right. Oh, that didn't work.